Salutations too. Greetings, everyone. This is Old School here from Typhoon World Enterprise. I'm going to talk about War of 1812. You know, I bring uncut history you would not get in any formal education institution. I bring, well, let's say the ancestors bring through me the hidden history. I did videos on the what really happened in the Delaware Indians. I did that a few weeks back. Yeah. So I have this revelation that I received, and I want to give it to you before it gets out of my mind. But more than that, I want to record this in history. And so they can take it down off of YouTube. It doesn't matter because I always have it recorded somewhere else. So let's start with the War of 1812. Now, first off, why there's no name for this war? You got World War II, World War III, World War One. Why don't they name some of these wars? Don't have any name. They just use the date because they really are hiding who's really fighting each other. It's very convoluted. Mostly it's tribal warfare. That's World War One and World War II. It's white people fighting each other over the colonists, over so-called black people for their land. But they won't say that, so they say World War One and World War II, because we fight to take your land from you. But we talking about 1812. 1812 were war against us. Well, they call us Indians then. Yes, they did. Before we was called African Americans, before we were called slaves and black, they called it Indians. Now, see, there was two types of Indians. There was some who were taken by force, and the only way you can be taken by force is if you don't fight to your death. A lot of Indians fought to the death against being enslaved, and some didn't. Some surrendered. So these are the so-called slaves they talk about. But the majority was free people who would fight to the death before they was enslaved. So the main players in this war was Thomas Jefferson, Napoleon. And I'm not going to give you, I can give you some books to read, but a lot of this straight from the source, straight from ancestors. But you're going to find it's verified in truth, but you got to go through a whole lot of rabbit holes to get it. This is fun for me. This is one of my purposes is decoding this so-called history. His story, they're not lying about that. So this is our truth. It's no story, no storyline here, no fake, no fiction. This is truth. So Jefferson felt like he was called to increase the United States. You know, he was called to get more land because the agreement was the 13 colonies had that portion on the East Coast. But being a Democrat, Jefferson said, no, we need more land because we want liberty. We want freedom. And really, they had an eye on taking all this Indian land because this wasn't their land. This was Indian land. So Napoleon he didn't have a lot of success forming colonies, especially in Haiti. So he didn't want that portion of America that France had owned, so called. So he sold it to uh, Jefferson. Jefferson also did this expedition, Lewis and Clark, to see what was out there, to find out what the Indian tribes were. See, he was gathering intelligence then with this Lewis and Clark expedition. Because his main oh, I got some good things for y'all. Just hang on. I didn't receive this in a flow. I received it like this, staggered. So that's where you're going to receive it from me. Staggered, flashbacks here and there. But you're going to get something. You're getting the jewel right here. You're getting truth, something you will never get, something you haven't gotten, that's for sure. So, since Napoleon felt like, hey, I'm not into this colonialist thing because look at Haiti, right? He was losing there, so he sold it to Jefferson, $15 million, Indian land, which Napoleon was thinking about colonizing with the headquarters right there in New Orleans. There's an Orleans in France, so this was New Orleans. That was going to be the headquarters of the French territory. So, as I was saying, this Lewis and Clark expedition was gathering intelligence about these Indian tribes because what this war really was about was that he had gathered enough information. Jefferson had gathered enough information to know how to play these tribes against each other. Divide and conquer. See, when you got an enemy that's outnumber you, that's all you can do is divide and conquer. Now, the traditional history talk about the British. Well, I'll say they were Moors because look at it now. We was ruling the country, the whole world at this time. The ruling power, okay? So we sent these undesirables to places like Australia, America. These was the people who wasn't doing the country any good. However, when they start creating havoc, when they start going wow, you know, we try to put them in check and say, what y'all doing? All this mayhem y'all causing over there, all this murder y'all doing over there. So we try to come over here and put these people in check because they was going wow. We did, our people. And so what Jefferson did was he played Indian tribes against each other. See, this is the game. He said, okay, you are so and so Indians. You're gonna have this area. This is your land here. You see. Now Indians, we don't believe in ownership of land. Only the spirit has the land. We use all things that belongs to the great spirit. So he brought this false idea of our own territory. And that's what created the wars against each tribe because they got to defend their territory against other Indians. See, we never had that before. So that was causing all this confusion over here. Got us warring against each other, playing favoritism. And the major Indian player that we had at that time was Takumas. Tsumas, Tsuma, Tesum, Tsuma. He was a Malcolm X of the day because he was saying, "Hey, don't believe this what do they call him? Pale face. Don't believe him. Don't follow his ways." See, a lot of our people just like today, they want to follow him. They want to, you know, become civilized. See, that's what they call civilized. When you follow the white man ways, you're civilized. So he had these tribes. Okay, he said these are the civilized tribes. Why did he say they were civilized? Because hey, I got them following me. I got them following the ways of us. And this created a lot of division among a lot of the tribes because they say, hey, we ain't for that. No, we're gonna stick to our traditional ways. We're gonna follow our God. We're not following no strange God. And we're gonna die on that. So this would cause us to fight each other. That he created this for this to happen. The Suma, he'll tell you all about it. Just read about him. So he came and say, look, brother, we got to come together. We had to come together and get this pale face out of our territory. But the only way we can do it is unite. Well, Tippecanoe Canoe was the end of that. And the war of the Battle of New Orleans. Because after they so-called, I'm skipping around because there's so much to this. When Andrew Jackson, man, he was a straight up murderer, liar, and he was causing a lot of this confusion among the Indian tribes, naming himself chief, deceiving them with false titles, and oh man, just bursts me to talk about it, saying he was a chief and all that. So much deception, it boggles the mind. So he managed to cause it really was genocide. And in New Orleans, that was always a great place for us. A lot of our treasures are there. They've always been trying to destroy that area. The culture is real strong there. That's why he went there, Battle of New Orleans, to destroy our culture. And he managed to have us kill each other. And he killed a lot of us with modern weapons. He lost something like 70 men and killed thousands of us. So it wasn't, you can't call that a battle. A battle, you have wins and losses on each side. You know, that was a genocide. That was a massacre. So anytime this paleface wins something, he won a war. No, he won a genocide. Because a lot of time he would have come to a fight when we was out hunting. He was just coming massacre the villages. Oh, and another thing, you know why they killed the buffaloes? Do you know why all the buffaloes was killed? To starve us out. To starve us out. So we kill the buffalo, we get rid of all the Indians. So he just slaughtered them. You know who had to slaughter them? You know who he had to slaughter them? Yes. Those ignorant black soldiers. So don't think Buffalo soldiers in honor. Dick Gregg would tell you that. They was a dishonor to us, the aware people. Because you're killing your own people. by killing the buffalo. But like I say, that's what he does. He divides and conquer, and these soldiers was enslaved, thinking they was fighting for. It's hard to even talk about this, man. Okay, now you had the burning of the White House. That shows you right there. We was fighting that war. That was strictly us. Everything started in Philadelphia, right? Liberty Bell, remember that? Constitution written all in Philadelphia. So why do you go to New York and D.C. and build the White House? That was an insult. That really was trying to destroy the republic. I don't have the exact date when that happened, but it had to be, yeah, before 1812. We built the White House for them. Boy, we are messed up people. He had us messed up, had us building the White House, the ignorant ones, and then the conscious ones said, hey, that's not our government. The Republic is in Philadelphia. What you doing over here? So that's why we burned it down. Trying to save the Republic. Okay, so yeah, that's the main things I want to get through right now. The main things I need to share. There's a lot more. A lot more is I'm not going to share it right now. I want you to try to digest this. And you notice with my very controversial teachings, I don't give a lot to you at one time. I made about 2 weeks. Then I bring you a little more. So in the meantime, what I want you to do, well, I shouldn't even have to say this. If you want truth, you say, well, let me see if I can see if half of what he's saying is true on my own. Now you got to read between the lines. Now remember, now the losers of the war never write the history. The winners write their own history. So-called winners, they haven't really won because the war is spiritual and moral. And if you see even Tang Sung shared in the Art of War that if you fighting an immoral, if your fight is immoral, you've already lost. So he's already lost. We just haven't transferred that into the physical yet. But it's coming. That's my dude is trying to wake up. Wake up. This is not a black or white thing because when you realize the truth, no matter what your background is, it frees you. It liberates you. As long as you're operating in a lie, you're a slave. You are a slave to a system that's enslaving you. See, the first enslavement is here, the mind. The only way to get free from that is to think scientifically. One of the great things that we gave him was scientific method. Yeah, we gave him that to try to think logically, if you will. But he don't use it. He don't use it. So you use it. Form a hypothesis, gather evidence, test evidence, trial and error, all those things. And you need to question everything, especially the language, because when you see how the language don't add up, don't make sense, it mean, just common sense. Now, if you fought a revolution, if a revolution war was fought in 1776, if you fought a revolutionary war, then why are the British fighting again in 1812? If you won in 1776, then why you got to fight another war in 1812? I'm telling you, the British, they say the British, if when you say British, put on the black face, the brutish Moors. We was trying to straighten this pale face out. They had gone wild. They had gone wild. It was causing all this carnage over here. Still are. So that's the type of people that came here. So I think that's enough for today. I want you to digest that and research that, and we'll talk later. Okay?